Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you this morning. $100 million crypto theft, ladies and gentlemen. FTX and Robinhood. This week in Congress with Ron Hammond. And what does crypto look like before and after the hurt? I think we're going to show you that and so much more today. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check it out. You can follow us at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen. Everything that we're talking about here today, $987 billion market cap for crypto. We're off by 2% this morning. Good morning. It is June 28, 2022. Bitcoin right now, 20,900 plus. We see Ethereum at 1,200 over. And we see XRP now at the number 6 spot at 34 cents. We lost a lot of that 7-day and now 7.7% on the 7-day right now, off by 4.3% in the last 24 hours. Careful what we call progress, but I think we're going to see some important footage today. I have some clips for you that are very powerful, as well as the week in Congress with Ron Hammond, and you are going to want every single bit of this. I mean, I know that there's a lot of hurt in the market right now, and unfortunately, I think we're going to see some more. I think I'm going to show you evidence of that, and I think even more importantly, I'm going to show you what this cryptocurrency market looks like when we're coming out of all of this hurt, and I think it's going to be well worth the ride. Take a look right here. It is 34 cents on the bottom, 37 on the top. Again, off by 4.6%. Here's something that I got to do, and I haven't done it in a minute, and I've intended to, and it's to put more money in my iTrust Capital account. You guys know I love working with them, and I love being a customer even more. The reality is that you can actually buy crypto tax-free inside your crypto IRA with iTrust Capital. Nobody does it better. If you don't believe me, click the link underneath the video. This is a fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Scott Stewart, co-founder of Kava. Kava happens to be the fastest growing blockchain for protocols. I did not know that in my best Ed McMahon. Kava now has more protocols in TVL, which is total value locked up in smart contracts, than Tezos. Give them a follow, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Shout out to Kava and Scott for all they're doing. Now let's take a look at this right here. Ethereum rival tumbles as hacker drains about 100 million from the account. We're talking about Harmony One team says the breach occurred on the morning of June 24th. Horizon Bridge, which enables users to move crypto assets between Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Harmony. Harmony team has identified a theft occurring that morning on the Horizon Bridge, amounting to approximately $100 million. We've begun working with the national authorities and forensic specialists to identify the culprit and retrieve the stolen funds. I hope Chainalysis is a part of that manhunt right there, and I hope they make everyone whole again. Take a look at this, talking about making everybody whole again. We covered this the other day, but we got to follow this. This is the crypto hurt, ladies and gentlemen. This is a part of the crypto hurt. And we got to be prepared of what was coming here. And I tell you, I think there's more to come. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But Voyager Digital has issued a default notice to 3AC, which is Three Arrows Capital, for failure to repay a loan of 15,250 Bitcoin and $350 million in USDC. You know, this moment is crushing not only retail investors, but companies. And I tell you, that is a very, very important thing to pay attention to. And look, it's why I tell you, get your stuff on cold storage, ladies and gentlemen. Do not play around. You know, I have really gotten the large majority of my holdings onto Ledger, and I feel so much better. Not to mention the fact that you can buy and exchange right on your cold wallet with their platform. And it's amazing. Link underneath the video. Be very careful. Now, in the world of hurt, in a new emerging market space or market class, asset class, you're going to see many different waves of merger acquisitions. And this is one of those moments. And right here, we see there's a blue light special on crypto platforms. Here comes the next wave of merger acquisitions, M&As. The birth of a new digital asset class is in full bloom. Don't believe me? Take a listen. We're not going to hear this whole clip, but I want to bring this into you right here for the first minute. Check it out.
Annie, what do we know?
So we know that internally there have been deliberations at FTX, which is one of the world's largest crypto exchanges, about potentially seeking a path for a deal with Robinhood. And we know that last month, Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, already took more than a 7% stake in Robinhood. So this would advance, obviously, that relationship between the two companies.
Hey, Annie, in your reporting, along with other Bloomberg News colleagues, there's a statement from Bankman-Fried, and they said there are no active M&A conversations with Robinhood. So how are we supposed to read that?
That's right. So just to be clear, what we've reported is that FTX has had its own internal deliberations on this idea, but Sam Bankman-Fried did say on the record that there are no active M&A conversations yet, so the discussions haven't progressed to that point yet. There are considerations, though, like the supermajority that CEO Vlad Tenev and Chief Creative Officer Baiju Bhatt have over at Robinhood. So there are some considerations that FTX would have to account for.
Is this pure valuation, given the massive market decline that we've seen in shares of Robinhood?
There's been a lot of speculation about what Robinhood will do. They went public last year, and they've seen a dramatic sell-off in their shares, which are down. Until today, they've been down more than 75% since their IPO. So there's been a lot of questions floating out there about what Robinhood would do, whether it would pursue some kind of deal. It already has this relationship with Sam Bankman-Fried, and so there's been a lot of speculation about what might happen. And according to our reporting internally at FTX, it is a discussion that they are looking for ways they might pursue a deal with Robinhood.
And why would they be pursuing a deal with Robinhood? Two reasons. One, they're obviously down in stock price, and it is a blue light special on crypto platforms, as I said. Number two, FTX is looking to bring equity opportunities to buy stocks to their platform. So this would be a great acquisition for FTX at pennies on the dollar. This is the kind of crypto hurt we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a lot to do with this guy right here. Now, yesterday we covered that this guy had mentioned, he says, my predecessors and others have said they are a commodity, talking about Bitcoin. His predecessors also said Ethereum is a commodity, but he refuses to speak on that as well as Bitcoin. And as far as he goes is to say his predecessors. Now, Senator Gillibrand had told us that Gary Gensler had said privately to them that Ethereum is a commodity too. So there's a big mix-up with this guy, Gary Gensler, and what he's willing to say behind the scenes as to what he won't say in public. And this is the second time in a month that Gary Gensler has stated, essentially, whether it be passively or tacitly, classifies Bitcoin as a commodity and that it should fall under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. Now, with that being said, we have the week in Congress. And listen, just to be clear here, and I want to be clear, I do not find it an accident or a coincidence that as the crypto space hits $1 trillion, this guy comes out in front of Jim Cramer and starts talking about crypto and what needs to happen and the vagueness and nothing's really clear. And the next thing you know, we're sitting back under, what is it here? We're sitting back under $1 trillion again. And I firmly believe it is this guy's fault. He's doing it by not giving us the clarity from the SEC agency. Now, that leads us to Congress. What can we expect Congress to do? Senator Gillibrand has said that they're going to get, and it's critical that they get a stablecoin legislation done by the end of the year. But will we? There's a lot going on. We know that there's been a lot of distraction with inflation, Russia, gun laws, and abortion laws now. And we know that that has pulled a lot of people away from the pile to focus on crypto. I do want to bring you down to this. He said in the 5 years, he said, let me take you to 10. Congress moves slow, but at the same time, it's not a rash with policy decisions for crypto. While some may clamor for quicker Congress, it is important to highlight an overly reactive Congress could have easily called to ban crypto years ago. Education and policy take time. In the 5 years he has worked, Ron Hammond, on crypto policy, the feeling we are close to crypto bill passing Congress is now stronger than ever. But close is a relative term, and in D.C., that still means a year out. These next few months will be positioning for what will be a busy 2023. Well, here's the reality. They don't like to do their job. And the reality for me is the distraction you see with the Supreme Court and everything they've issued there has been ability for the left to rally their base to the voting booth in November, because the truth is what the truth is that things are not looking good for that side, and it's all about power, control, and relevance. It's never really about what is good for the people, because the truth is, you know what's good for the people? All people? Decent gas prices, lower inflation. That helps everybody, right? So these other things are done to piss off people and rally a base in order to drive them to a voting booth so they can stay in power. And then, maybe then, we can address this crypto issue. What will crypto prices look like when the SEC sues a crypto exchange or two and throw in a USD Tether collapse for fun? You think we're at a bottom now? Throw those things into the mix, because I firmly believe we are going to see one, if not both of those things take place. But what will crypto look like when we come out of the hurt? What will crypto look like when Congress actually does its job, right? Gets off of the soapbox and takes their ass into Capitol Hill and actually passes legislation, because that's their job. Well, I think you're going to get a glimmer of what it looks like, and you're going to see right here, not only what it looks like in the U.S., but what it'll look like in Europe, too. Take a listen.
Hold above 20,000. So with these cryptos solidly in the red, as the stability of the crypto market further deteriorates, hedge funds have turned their eye to shorting Tether. Tether, of course, is one of those stablecoins that was supposedly pegged to the U.S. dollar. And of course, they're shorting it after Terra USD's collapse last month.
She just told you what we've been reporting on. Hedge funds are shorting Tether. They're looking to collapse it. And the reason they're looking to collapse it is because, and I'm going to skip ahead here, because Jeremy Allaire is what I believe at Circle, and USDC is the unofficial, official U.S. digital dollar, which has done more than $3 trillion in transactions. And I hope I've grabbed the right clip here. Let's take a listen here.
Specifically at what you guys do. Slightly above it, although it had broken down slightly below it during the drama that involved all of the Luna and Tether and Terra problems. But now we have Jay Powell coming out and saying last week, and this jumped out at me and my team, because I'll tell you something, when you see him talk about stable coins, that was something he delved into central dollar, a central bank dollar, but he really got specific with stable coins. I want you to listen to what he said, and then you can react, because he takes aim specifically at what you guys do.
And he does. And I want you to listen to what Jeremy Allaire says, even after Liz Clayman is going to push back on him. Take a listen to this next segment.
And you think overall the ideal role of the Fed in overseeing stablecoins is what?
Do we want a private stablecoin to wind up being the digital dollar? And I think the answer is no. If we're going to have a digital dollar, it should be done by us. I think that it should be government guaranteed money, not private money that is really created for the benefit of the private issuer. So anything to do with payments that the public is involved in, we should be involved in that too.
He is taking aim at you guys. What do you think about that?
Well, I think Chairman Powell, there are a couple pieces here. I think the first is, he's multiple times, come out in favor of making sure that we have sound national regulatory policy around dollar stablecoins. And then, in fact, we're quite aligned about that. We view dollar stablecoins as a critical, major innovation in payment technology.
Right, but Jeremy, he says we don't want a private stablecoin to become a digital dollar.
That's what he said. But I encourage you to think of this the same way that we see FTX looking to acquire Robinhood. Think of this the same way we've heard of Celsius possibly being acquired by Goldman Sachs, for which they denied the rumors late yesterday afternoon, which tells me that they don't want to pay $2.2 billion for it. They probably want to pay 1.5. Right? So we'll let it bleed out another week or two, and then we'll get it for even less. This is the wave of mergers and acquisitions, and I don't see it any different from the Fed and the USD coin. Now, listen to what Jeremy Allaire says, because he basically says private innovation is leading the way, and the Fed could basically adopt us. Take a listen.
That's you guys.
Yeah. I think two things. So very clearly, I think Chairman Powell understands that stablecoins are going to grow and are going to be very significant. And I think at the same time, he's making an argument that the federal government ought to be building technology and potentially releasing technology in the space. Now, I think the really critical thing is every single major payment system innovation of the past almost 75 years has been private sector led.
There it is right there. He's saying basically every major payment service innovation right here explains every single major payment service innovation has been private sector led. USD coin is poised for adoption by the Fed. That part's me. And I'm telling you, that solves the problem right there. And with more than $3 trillion in transactions, you're starting to get a look at what this crypto space looks like after the hurt. Let's take a look at this. I think, again, Cozy's got it here as well. USDC backed by Circle will be the official stablecoin of the USA. Everyone is building Web3 to create an internet of value, tokenizing everything. XRP Ledger adopted by Ripple will be a bridge to move everything. I agree. And another handful of protocols to go along with it. Looky right there. I think it's right on the money here. And let us not forget, we have the central bank digital currency side, which could be wholesale back end. Some central banks are choosing to do retail as well. But take a listen to this clip here from this gentleman.
We started off working together with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, establishing a cross-border payment corridor. And that since has been extended on a more multilateral basis. It's called the Enbridge Project. The PBOC, Bank China is involved, and the UAE is involved in that, and the BIS as well. So, and our next phase now is to think more on the retail space, and we're looking at doing a pilot, a limited pilot, nothing on the size of China, in fourth quarter of this year. So I should caveat this by saying that these are testing and experimentation. We haven't rolled it out yet. At one point, again, there are a lot of banks looking at it, right? But the number of central banks have actually done this, right? This has been relatively limited, and I think that's important to keep in mind, because it's got to be clear what problem we're trying to solve. So with that background, if I may, some of the takeaways and whatnot. First point, beyond the technology. One thing we discovered, particularly in the wholesale CBDC cross-border project, is that blockchain, the way it's set up, it's very good for things that are to be open and transparent. But when you try to put in kind of anonymity in it, it affects the ability of it to scale.
Data privacy.
So so when we in the cross-border wholesale CBDC, you didn't want everybody to kind of see what transaction you were doing, right? You wanted the people that were party transacting to see, but not the other people to see that. But when you put in these anonymity things, it really affected the computational problems, and then it made it that much more difficult to scale.
It made it that much more difficult to scale, which is why Ripple built a private ledger for central banks to launch their CBDCs on. You don't think that guy doesn't know that? Because we do. British Parliament member Matt Hancock says no country can stop this crypto revolution. And I say that's exactly right. And that message needs to be delivered to Gary Gensler, because he certainly can't stop it either. You can regulate certain things out of existence if you want to, but the truth of the matter is the fourth industrial revolution is a digital revolution, and crypto is in the heart of it. And when we come out of the hurt that we're going through right now, you're going to see regulated, licensed, supervised stable coins and CBDCs be the foundational layer how everyone gets in and out of this digital world. And you know what? When it comes to the SEC versus Ripple, will they risk losing this case, or will they take a settlement? And we know Ripple won't take a settlement without clarity to move forward with XRP. John Deaton says unpopular tweet because the executive order and the Loomis bill minimize the SEC's role. Many believe a likelihood is that Gary Gensler will opt to settle the Ripple XRP case. It's logical. Take a win while you can. It could have the opposite effect, to roll the dice for a win, to say, see, we were right. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're on our way through the hurt, and it won't last forever. The trick is will you be able to make it through the hurt? I know I'm going to be here, however it goes, tattered or torn. I'm going to be standing at the end of this thing, because I didn't come here to lose. I came here to win. Make sure you check out all the links underneath the video. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch all of you on the next one.